Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between. I'm John Maciel, bringing you round 2 of the 2019 Shadow Era Pro Tour Finals. This week, not only did I take the replays of the 4 matches instead of 3 that I have chosen, I'll be playing the full matches at 1.5 times speed from those replays to make this video a little bit longer than last week, but not too long. Hopefully you guys stick around for the whole thing. We're going to go in more depth into each of these matches with each of these decks. As usual, we start with Group A. The first matchup today is SK Trinal Core versus BP Zodi. We saw BP Zodi's Elementalis do well last week. He'll be up against Trinal Core's Wolven Vess. During my matchups, I'll be referring to them by hero names instead of player name to make it a little easier to follow on the screen. So let's jump in to game 1 between Vess and Elementalis. Looks like Vess here is going first. Sacrifice on turn 1, not too surprising, and a sacrifice on turn 1 for Elementalis. Turn 2, Vess will drop a Wolven Trader after his sacrifice, and Vess will drop a Stardust Transfuser. Now turn 3 for Vess, he'll attack with ambush into the Transfuser, dropping the Wolven Predator to finish off his turn. Turn 3, Elementalis will drop the Voracious Arachnid and buff the Transfuser to finish off the Wolven Trader. And that should do it for turn 3 Elementalis. Now we'll come to turn 4 for Vess. You should be sacrificing up to 4 here, activating Vess's ability for a free Blood Frenzy, Wild Fang being dropped, and a free Relentless Savagery onto the Predator to finish off the Arachnid. You don't want to let that guy get buffed if you can help it. So now Elementalis comes up to turn 4. He'll sacrifice a 4, drop a Permeate on the Transfuser and a Rapacious Vermin. He'll finish off the Predator, sending the Savagery back to Vess's hand. So turn 5 for Vess. Are we going to see a sacrifice to 5? Nope. We will see a Savagery come down onto the Wild Fang. He'll get ambush damage onto the Transfuser, bring him down to 1, and a Wolven Scout coming down. Elementalis on turn 5. We'll see the Extractor and Stardust Transfuser finishing off the Wild Fang, sending the Savagery back to his hand again, and Vermin taking off a point of damage from Vess. Vess now down to 27 health on turn 6. He'll sacrifice up to 5, dropping the Savagery, a Hero Monster for draw, no resource denial though, and the Transfuser will be killed, dropping the Permeate onto the board for Elementalis' turn 6. We'll see Elementalis buff onto the Extractor. We'll see a point of draw from the Extractor as well. And there's that Gold Lace Shield. Should give him another point of draw from the Extractor. Should see the Extractor kill off the Scout, and we will. Savagery back to Vess's hand. And Vermin should take off another point of damage from Vess, bringing Vess to 25 health now for her turn 7. And that'll do it. Vess not liking the cards he had in his hand. Didn't see any comeback potential, not for that game 1, but game 2 and game 3, Vess with that Wolven deck will handily take both of those games. And now to give SK Trinal Core the series win 2-1 over BT Zodi. And that brings us to the next matchup of Group A between A1 Quora and A1 Wimbuild. Quora is bringing Boris against Wimbuild's Undead Banebow. Now the first match was close, but it went to Boris, and we come up to game 2 of that series. We see the players drawing out their hands. Sacrifice by Boris on turn 1. Should give them both 1 resource here. Turn 2 for Boris. We'll see no allies coming out for Boris, and we'll see an ally Feasterling coming down for Banebow on turn 2. Turn 3 for Boris. We'll see a Blood Frenzy, so that gives Boris a draw engine, but his board is currently empty. And Banebow will drop that Thaddeus alongside the Feasterling, who will give some damage to Banebow, but not without taking another 3 damage off of Boris. That brings Boris down to 25 on turn 4. Boris sacrificing a 4, playing the Javelin, taking a ping of damage onto Banebow, and finishing off the Thaddeus. That'll send the Javelin to the graveyard. Now that comes up to turn 5 for Banebow. We'll see how Banebow responds. Hopefully continuing to put board pressure down. We'll see a Harbinger coming down, sacrificing the Horror and the Seductress. Feasterling taking off another 3 damage from Boris. That brings Boris down to 21 health to Banebow's 22 for Boris' turn 5. Boris will kill off the Feasterling with his ability. And dropping the Plunderer, pulling the Javelin, using the ability on Harbinger to kill the Harbinger, exiling the Javelin in the process. That brings us to turn 5 for Banebow. Banebow sacrificing the 5, dropping a Gambit on the Plunderer, and using the ability to ping Plunderer and ping Boris. Plunderer still at 1 hit point, Boris at 18 here on turn 6. War Giant coming down for Boris. Plunderer will take 3 damage off of Banebow. And that'll do it for turn 6. That's a strong board so far for Boris. We'll see ping damage coming off on Plunderer, getting draw for Banebow, 2 more damage off of Boris. And a Soul Seeker come down, we'll see some more ping damage onto Boris. That leaves Banebow at 19 and Boris at 13. Turn 7 for Boris. We'll see the War Giant attack into the Soul Seeker, taking only 1 damage because of his passive. Nathanius coming down on turn 7 with a free Nanaya. That is a formidable board that I'm not sure how Banebow can come back from, but he'll drop a Shroud here, pulling the Thaddeus. He's going to take as much damage, it looks like, off of Boris as he can. Sacking the Thaddeus in the process, since the Thaddeus is going to die at the end of the turn. We'll get some draw out of the deal. He'll attack into Boris with the Soul Seeker. Banebow at 16, Boris at 8 health. Now we'll see War Giant attacking into the Banebow. And Nathanius as well as Nanaya. That'll bring Banebow down to 3 health. Do we have a Plunderer to finish off the game? We have a Vanguard and a Marksman, so not yet. But this should do it here. I don't see a way that Banebow is going to finish off this Boris. And that will do it. So game 2 of that matchup went to Boris. Game 3 went handedly to Banebow. So that finishes off that series 2-1 for A1 Quora over A1 Wind Build. And that finishes off our recap for Group A. So now we move to Group B. First matchup there is SD11's Jericho versus 17 Gibo's Baduru. We had Jericho handily win Game 1 and Baduru win a close Game 2. So with the series tied 1-1, we move to Game 3 of that series. We have Jericho here in the bottom, Baduru up at the top. Sacrifice to 1 resource for Jericho, should see the same for Baduru. Turn 2 for Jericho, we'll see a Glass Chalice being dropped to set up future draw engine here. Can't quite use it yet. Trapper will pull a Camouflage Foe coming down for turn 2 for Baduru. Turn 3, Chalice pulling draw. He can do that now because it's only drawing 2 at a time. And we'll see a Pack Beast coming down for Jericho, setting up a pretty defensive board. That should be the Camouflage Foe on turn 3. Trapper hitting into Jericho. Jericho to 24 health. Tainted Oracle sacrificed into the foe for 2 draw. Pack Beast pinging away at the Baduru. And that will heal Jericho as well, bringing it back to 25. Turn 4 for Baduru, we'll see a Gambit onto the Pack Beast. Foe bring it down to 1. Trapper going to finish it off. Do we have a getting draw for Baduru? Do we have a weapon yet? We do not have a weapon. That brings us to turn 5 for Jericho. 2 more draw from Chalice. He'll shuffle 1 back in. Scepter coming down. He'll kill off the Trapper. He's going to try to be careful with that Scepter so that when it's destroyed, it can count as a buff for one of his allies. Baduru's can probably work around that too. We'll see a Sneer Krug coming down. Foe taking off 2 from Jericho. Now to turn 6, Jericho, 23 health for Jericho, 27 for Baduru. We'll see a Curses and a Pack Beast. Another very defensive setup for Jericho. Looking pretty safe here so far, but we do have a weapon now with Gambit and the crossbow to finish off the Pack Beast. He'll get some draw out of that deal. Very large hand for Baduru right now. 1 hit point off with the foe and another one with Sneer Krug, but he'll take some durability off of that Scepter in the process. So that's 2 durability left for the Scepter. Chalice will pull out some draw. Shuffle 1 back in. We got a Forgiveness being dropped and a Crimson Dusk being dropped down. So that's turn 7 now for Baduru. Let's see a Gambit and the Crimson Dusk being finished off. Looks like another Camouflage Foe being dropped. Foe will attack into Jericho, not attacking with Sneer Krug because he wants to be able to destroy that weapon in one go. So we'll see draw from Chalice. We'll see Dusk get hit by Foe, healing Jericho in the process. Jericho will attack into the crossbow leaving 1 durability left, so he's going to want to finish off this knight first before destroying the weapon. He'll take 1 off with that ambush from the foe, and the other foe as well. Bring down to 4, should be able to finish off with his crossbow, and then finish off the weapon with the Sneerkrug to get that threat out of the way. So that's the end of turn 8. Then we got a Night Prowler coming down first. So Night Prowler coming down turn 8. Turn 9, Jericho. 23 health for Jericho, 25 for Banebow. We see a Lily pull the Scepter out. Scepter will finish off the Night Prowler before it can do any card draw at all for Banebow. That was a questionable turn for Banebow before wasting that Night Prowler. But foe will attack Jericho for 2. And the other foe for 2 with the buffs from Drangus. Banebow will pull a weapon here, a Grundler's Double. See him just ignoring the Lily altogether. Sneerkrug attacking into it. He can't destroy that weapon because of all the ambush on his allies, so that brings him down to 2 durability on the Scepter. Chalice is pulling weapons. Lily's going to just attack into this Grundler's. And we should see a tidal wave here. Here it comes. That's a big board to get rid of for Banebow. And another Crimson Dust coming down for Jericho. He'll attack into the Grundlers again. 11 health for Jericho, 17 for Banebow. Turn 10 for Banebow here. We see a spotter coming down. He'll attack into the Jericho once, which will put the attachment onto Crimson Dusk. That's a big Crimson Dusk. But Jericho is down to 5 hit points. Banebow at a healthy 15. Adler will come down, give Jericho some more health. And the Crimson Dusk will finish off the spotter. So I don't see Banebow being able to finish this game off yet with the spotter gone. He'll drop a full cost crossbow, bringing Jericho down to 4. So now turn 12 for Jericho. He'll get some more draw with this Chalice here. And drop a King's Pride, so that's offensive and defensive here. He'll get some health back from the Knight getting hit. And the Adlard hitting into Banebow as well. So that's Jericho back up to 7 with a King's Pride. Banebow is down to 3 with a big board over here. He's just going to attack into the Crimson Dusk to finish the game off. So that was quite a game 3 there. And that will give SD11 the win over that series, 2-1 over 17 Gibo. And for the final game of our recap, we come to A1 Hitachi versus Samu to death. Hitachi's bringing Elementalis. Samu is bringing Viktor. We had a pretty one-sided matchup in game 1 that went to Hitachi's Elementalis. So we're here to look at this game 2 between A1 Hitachi and Samu to death. We got Elementalis on the bottom, Viktor on the top. They're both sacking to 1 resource. That brings us to 2 resources with the Transfuser coming down on turn 2 for Elementalis. Viktor's turn 2, he'll drop the Krugel Braggart. Very nice addition for Viktor. Syncs up very well with his ability. Thaddeus will come and ping the Braggart, and the Braggart will be finished off by the Transfuser. And that'll bring us to turn 3 for Viktor. See, Viktor possibly, no Gambit, so nothing to do on turn 3. Arachnid will come down. Thaddeus pinging Viktor as well as a Transfuser, bringing Viktor down to 24 health, and a pretty sizable board here for Elementalis. Elementalis is going to hold on to ability, trying to get Viktor to use his first. Tainted Oracle comes down for Viktor on turn 4. Now Elementalis will drop that ability with the Gold Lace Shield, so he'll get some extra draw going here too, and a very big Thaddeus. Transfuser will kill off the Oracle. So now we'll should see 6 more damage come out onto Viktor here. That'll bring Viktor down to 18 hit points here for the end of Elementalis' turn 5. That brings us to Viktor's turn 5 here. We'll see how he responds to this board. We'll see a Soul Seeker coming down. He's just going to attack into the Transfuser, get that health back up as well. He's holding on to that ability still. We see turn 6 for Ellie. He'll use Gold Lace Shield again on the Thaddeus for some more draw, and another Arachnid. We'll see 5 damage coming from this Thaddeus here, then another 3 from the Arachnid, bringing Viktor down to 13 hit points at the end of Ellie's turn 6, and that Soul Seeker's down to 1 durability left. Now turn 6 for Viktor, he'll hasten a Visca. He'll use his ability on this Thaddeus now, using the Soul Seeker to heal back up to 16. And Visca should finish off this 3 health Arachnid here, ending turn 6 for Viktor. Now we come to turn 7 for Elementalis. He'll sacrifice a 6, dropping a Demolitionist, using the shield on the Demolitionist to get draw right away. And that's what happens. The ally is already at 7 health, so it comes up right at 8. And we got Arachnid as a 4/8, hitting right into the Viktor. So these are 2 big allies for Ellie now. For this turn 7 for Viktor. He'll stun the Demolitionist and retreat this Arachnid. Attack with the Visca into the stunned Demolitionist. That Demo is down to 5 health. For Ellie's turn 8, Arachnid is coming down here, as well as the Thaddeus to ping the Seductress. And a Gold Lace Shield onto the Thaddeus. So now we have 5 health for each of these allies on Ellie's board. Turn 8 for Viktor. A Soul Seeker coming down. Viktor will then use the ability on the Demo. Braggart will kill it off, leaving Braggart as a 3/3 onto the board for 2 costs. Pretty good. Seductress attacking in the Arachnid after the kill, so Seductress goes down to 1 hit point. Visca will finish off the Arachnid. Viktor's going to take some damage off of the Thaddeus, bringing Viktor down to 11. Ellie still had a full 28 hit points. Now turn 9. Dropping Hulk down. Thaddeus is going to... Looks like Thaddeus is going to kill off this Braggart here. Does not want to let that thing get buffed anymore. And that'll do it. Nothing else for Ellie to play on that turn. We're at turn 9 for Viktor. Dropping the Bobcat with the Gambit. Bringing that Hulk down to 1. We should see some more health coming back for Viktor. And we will. As well as draw. And Visca should finish off the Thaddeus. And finally, Viktor can take some damage off of this Elementalis. Viktor looking like he has a solid board here. And Elementalis looking like she's in a little bit of trouble. And this comes at turn 10. We'll see a Feastling come down with an Amplifier. And a buff on the Amp. That will buff both allies. Even as big as Amplifier is, we should be able to see Viktor deal with it. General pulling what was probably another Gambit. Here it is. Bobcat with that ambush into the Amplifier. To 4, sacrificing the Seductress now, and Viktor should finish off that amp for another 3 health back to Viktor. Viktor looking pretty healthy once again at 17 hit points. Visca attacking into the Ellie, bringing Ellie down to 22. Viktor looking like he's running away with us now. Turn 11 for Elementalis. We have a Gold Lace Shield coming down, buffing this Feasterling, who should be able to take on the Bobcat now. No, he's going to attack into the Viktor instead. He'll finish off the Soul Seeker. This board is looking pretty good, though, still for Viktor. 12 health for Viktor. He'll drop a Gambit onto the Feasterling. We'll see an Alden come down as well. General will finish off the Feasterling, getting him some draw. And another trap being placed down. Looks like it could be Camouflage Foe. We'll assume that it is. Visca and the Bobcat attacking into Ellie. This is looking like it could be in the bag for Viktor at this point. Turn 12. Yep, he's just going to end that turn. He's just going to accept his fate. Let Viktor kill him off. It's going to leave to 1 health. We'll see if does Viktor have a weapon to finish this game off. Visca bringing Ellie down to 1. And we do have a Soul Seeker. And that brings that win to Viktor. Now, as good as that looked for Viktor, Elementalis did take Game 3 pretty handedly, and that gives Hitachi that series win, 2-1 over Samu to death. These were great matches today for Round 2, great matches overall, which we can expect from these contestants for the 2019 Shadow Era Pro Tour. And that'll do it for our Round 2 recap. Let me know what you guys think about this format, and I will see you all next time. Hey everyone, did you enjoy today's video? Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Did you hate today's video? Then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's really the only way I can tell. Thanks.